Hello and welcome to the Fairy Elephant Effect podcast. I'm Elysabeth Wolter, author of the Fairy Elephant Effect book. And here we talk about subjects that truly matter because you matter. Everything starts and ends with you. This is a space where I share my own journey recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, living with severe anxiety, panic attacks, phobias, and the heavy weight of poor self-beliefs and life stories that kept me very stuck. But this isn't just about my story. Here we shine a light on transformation, on what happens when we change our narrative, reclaim our worth, and move into new and powerful chapters of our life. You hear conversations, reflections, and inspiring interviews with people who have rewritten their stories and stepped into lives they never thought possible. So if you are ready to release what no longer serves you, embrace what does, and discover the truth of who you are, this is your place. Welcome to the Fairy Elephant Effect podcast. Welcome back to the Fairy Elephant Effect podcast. I'm Elysabeth Wolter, and this is your time. Today we're talking about the Pollyanna Game, a practice that can transform how we see the world and ourselves, inspired by the classic story of Pollyanna. It's all about finding something to be glad in every situation. This is not toxic positivity, it's emotional resilience in motion. I write about this in my book, The Fairy Elephant Effect. The story behind Pollyanna is that it is a movie I watched when I was about 9 or 10. And of course for us older people, that was a little while ago. When I watched Pollyanna, at the time I didn't realise I was being introduced to the concept of gratitude. I just saw a girl who always looked for something to be glad about, even in hard circumstances which she had. Now, a dear friend gave me a copy of the Pollyanna book, and of course, it's about 60 or 70 years old, but it's still a great story. When I grew up and started to realise that there's some things in life that we need to cultivate, that's something we need to practice in life that is going to help us be better at being us and change the negativity that we might find ourselves in. And also it can shift a little bit of anxiety, some panic. I used to use this technique in the car when I was driving. And for some of you know, I've talked about that when I used to have extreme anxiety and panic attacks. Driving was a real trigger point for me. The Pollyanna Game was really useful in keeping me thinking about things that were more positive, that I was appreciative about, and you can't have a positive and negative thought in your brain at the same time. So gratitude, when we're not born with gratitude, we all know that. Gratitude is a trained response, and the more we practice it, the faster our brains recognise what's working instead of looping through what's wrong. Neuroscience shows us that when we focus on gratitude, our brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals. This changes how we process experiences, improving mood, motivation, and immune function. The Pollyanna Game is one of those games that help us to do that. And so here we go. The shift from negative to gratitude doesn't ease pain, but it helps us meet things differently. When we look for what's working, we teach our brains that we're capable of light and we're capable of turning things around for ourselves. Now this game's really easy, but will you use it? We're going to start and use the alphabet. So you name something you're grateful for that begins with that letter. Now I recommend you do it at least 2 times through, and I've done this in groups with many people, and it's a great way for people to start changing their energy, coming into the right space. And it's just a fabulous tool to use anytime you're overwhelmed, you're worrying about something. You cannot turn your brain off of being fixated on some thought or some person. It's another great thing, as I say, when you're feeling anxious, focusing on something like this can be very, very good. The key is not to rush it. If your mind wanders, that's okay. Just gently bring it back and start where you left off. It is, because when we are giving your mind a new pattern to focus on, it helps us to retrain your brain to search for safety and calm rather than danger or deficiency. That's it. So you can do this anytime you want, anytime you notice your mind is drifting regularly. When we practice the Pollyanna game regularly, we build mental and emotional elasticity. That means we can bounce back faster from challenges. Gratitude doesn't deny reality. It expands it. So I'm grateful for the coffee I had this morning, but let's do it Pollyanna. So I'll start with A. I am grateful for the air I get to breathe, the clean air I get to breathe today. B. I am grateful for the bounty that I have in my life. My cupboards are full. That's bounty. C. I am grateful for my car. My car is so fabulous. I've had it for a few years now, and it really just goes so well. Bit of maintenance and it's fabulous. D. I am grateful for my daughter and the relationship I have with her. You get my point. You see how this starts to work, and as you get further on, you may find some of those letters a bit challenging, but please do it down to Z and then start again, and you will notice your energy shift. Even a small shift means it's working. So you could use some reflection questions to ask yourself afterwards if you have the opportunity to write it down. What's one thing in your life right now that deserves more appreciation than it's getting? And that's a really useful thing. How can gratitude become my first language, not my afterthought? What might shift if you started every morning with a simple glad statement? So you could take one of those statements, you use the Pollyanna every day, A, B, C, D. But I do recommend if you're feeling really stressed or feeling overwhelmed or you do the whole alphabet through twice. Because life doesn't always give us what we expect, but it gives us moments when gratitude can rewrite our story. When we start training our minds to look for light, we begin to live more heart-led, more grounded, and have more joy-filled lives. We are out of our head more and into our body, which means we have the opportunity to be more in alignment and to have head-heart coherence. And that's what I would like for you. So as always, may the story shift for you because you matter. It all starts and ends with you. Until next time, we'll see you.